All right, I've got 6:32. I ask you to rise. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thank all of you for attending. The first order of business now is amendments to the agenda. Board members have them in red. I've got one addition to add as well. We're going to amend the agenda under the appointments item to include the Assistant Director of Public Works, the Street Naming Committee, Charter Revision Committee, appointment to CRAD, the Health District, and finally an alternate for the Board of Finance. I have a motion to make those amendments. I have a motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Or abstained? All right. Agenda is so amended. Public comment. I'd like to open the floor now to any public comments. As stated before, this is not intended to be a question and answer session. It's your opportunity to make comments on any item. If your question is quick and we've got answers, I'll be happy to provide them, but we'll have to see. Yes?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to say a note of congratulations to the new members of our Board of Selectmen. And good luck in the next couple of years there.
We'll need it. Neil?
I was going to say the same thing. Also, I brought this up maybe 6 months ago, if with the new board, if we can look into it. The entryway to the transfer station, if we can possibly name that Gunner Place for a gunner who passed away, who worked there for many, many years. And also on the same note with the passing of Phil Goff, if there's a way, I don't know if it would be the town or DOT that would have to approve it, but if we can name the bridge that goes through the center, the Phil Goff Memorial Bridge. And I don't know if we could get like one of those bronze plaques that, you know, typically is put up either at the firehouse or fire apparatus or something like that with a little write-up where it can be attached to one of the pillars.
Okay, we can certainly look into that. DOT, or the state legislature actually is the one who approves anything on state roads, but we will follow up on that. Yes, Dan?
It's Joanne's birthday.
Happy 29th!
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, and moving on. Next order of business is to approve the November 12th, 2019 minutes. Copies are in the Selectmen's package. Frankly, the difficulty this presents, I don't think any of us were there for that meeting.
I was there.
You were there?
I was there.
Does this represent the meeting as you recall?
I looked through it, it's as accurate as I can recall, so I'll make that motion. We accept the minutes based on my recollection that they're as accurate as they can be.
All right, motion is made to approve the minutes as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving along. Tax refunds. We have 6 tax refunds in front of us. They are all motor vehicle taxes. One for past year, the others for current years. They total $1,163.54. Can I have a motion to approve the tax refunds as put forward by the tax collector?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, discussion on the motion? All right, in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, next order of business, appointments. What I intend to do, unless either of my fellow selectmen prefer a different way, go down each one, make a motion for each one so it's clear what exactly we have approved or not approved. And most, but not quite all of these were discussed at our special selectmen's meeting last week. There have been a couple of additions that we need to discuss today. First appointment, we have an abandoned vehicle hearing officer. That's an appointment. There are 2 slots for that. Currently, that is vacant. The positions have been vacant for quite a while. and I propose we not appoint anyone to them at this time. As we did discuss last week, what I would like to do for any vacancies and had endorsed at the special selectmen's meeting is put out a notice to the 2 town committee chairs where it's appropriate, and also something on our website to open the notice up to all members of the town, since 44% of the registered voters are unaffiliated. Now, obviously, we are constrained by minority representation on some of these, and we'll abide by that, but in general, I'd like to open the pool and get as wide a number of candidates as we possibly can. All right, so can I have a motion to continue that course of action for the abandoned vehicle hearing officer?
I'll make that motion.
All right, in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, next one on the list, Animal Control Officer, Don Kowaleski has been filling that role. I propose that we recommend that we appoint her for another 2-year term. Can I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
All right, any discussion?
She's a fantastic choice and worked with her well, and she'll continue doing a good job for us.
And she treated my dog well the one time she caught him, so. Good with me. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right. All right. Assistant Director of Public Works, Chris Corsa fills that position, has for a number of years. It's not quite clear from the town charter whether this has to be continually reappointed, but just to be on the safe side, I want to take care of that tonight. Can I have a motion to approve his reappointment as Assistant Director of Public Works?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. What we've done with all the other boards, except if I bring up a particular exception, last week we sent out an email to all the currently serving board members who need to be reappointed to ask them if they were interested, or more exactly, to tell them we intended to reappoint them unless they expressed a desire to be removed from the committee. Based on that, and starting with the Building Board of Appeals, the 2 members who are due for reappointment, Ron Matulik, Bruce Mazzata, have not indicated they wish to resign, so accordingly I recommend appointing them for another 5-year term on the Building Board of Appeals. I have a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Building Committee. I know it's not on the agenda, but just as a point of information for everybody here, a number of these committees, which are any committee that's established by the Board of Selectmen, expires and ceases to exist 30 days after the next general town election. Accordingly, the Building Committee stopped work and ceased to exist on the 5th or 6th of this month. Discussion we had at the special Board of Selectmen's meeting was not to recommend at this point continuing that committee, and we will just continue on that path. It doesn't require a motion on our part. It would require one to reappoint or reestablish. But for now, we're going to let that committee pass, and if we need it in the future, we'll reestablish it in the future. All right, Charter Revision Committee. Again, this is also one that was appointed by the Board of Selectmen, has technically expired, but at their last charge, they were asked to look into a couple of items. One was correcting some of the wording in the charter because of some statutory conflicts. The other one was to investigate a town manager. They were given until, I believe it was May, to come up with their recommendations. I recommend that we continue that committee and reappoint the current members who are sitting on it. Do I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion's been made. In favor? Aye. All right. Continuing on. Committee on Aging. Again, I recommend, we've contacted the members, they all want to continue. I recommend continuing that committee, and I recommend reappointing all the members who had been serving on it as listed in what we have here in our handouts. I have a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, one of the additions, the Connecticut River Area Health District, we did not discuss this last week. First Selectman has been serving as the town's representative to the board of directors of that organization. I propose that being continued, so accordingly I'm proposing myself to be the representative from the town to the board of directors for the Connecticut River Area Health District. Have a motion to that extent?
I'll make that motion.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Congratulations.
There's one more thing on the resume. You never know what's going to come in.
We're what you wish for.
All right. Next one to discuss, Economic Development Commission. That's actually established by the charter. We have 2 vacancies to fill. It's a 3-year term. We've had so far, I think, 3 or 4 people express an interest. As I mentioned earlier, I'd like to go out to the town in general to solicit more. So as we talked about last week, I'm going to continue with that course of action. So we will not be making any appointments tonight to that commission.
Can I just make a comment on that quickly?
Certainly.
Just a quick comment on that too. As chair of EDC, I often recommend people who have interest to please come to a meeting first and just sit in, see what we're about, see how things operate, just so you can get a feel. And also too, the charrette results that are being presented. I don't know exactly what's coming of them, but Bill Warner has expressed that EDC will be taking on significant action items from those results. So I really strongly recommend that if anybody's interested to please come to a meeting, just to make sure you know what you're getting into, frankly.
And do you know when your next scheduled meeting is?
Our next scheduled meeting will be, I think it's January 8th. We meet the second Wednesday of the month at the community center.
Okay, and that will be before our next Board of Selectmen meeting. All right, Gateway Commission, I have 2 people to reappoint, Sue Bevent, Mike Farina, take 2-year term. I have a motion to that extent.
I'll make that motion.
All right, in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Infrastructure Committee, like the Building Committee, we think it has gone beyond its useful point at this time. Not going to recommend reestablishing it. If there's a need arises in the future, we'll reestablish this committee in the future. Next one with an appointment, the Merit Service Retirement Board. This is the board that oversees the pension system for both fire departments. It's supposed to be staffed by 2 people, one from each of the departments. The current members, or the members who had been on it, have resigned. Accordingly, I'm proposing Tom Danaher as a representative from the Haddam Neck Fire Department and Peter Brown as a representative from the Haddam Volunteer Fire Company. Can I have a motion to that effect?
Make that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that continues. Safety Committee. Again, another one established by the Board of Selectmen. Ties into OSHA and some of the labor requirements, so I recommend we both continue this committee and also reappoint all the current members. A couple I would like to highlight, one I'd like to highlight rather, Malcolm Meyer. He is a representative from the Haddam Volunteer Fire Company. He's replacing Rick Anino, who resigns. We're still waiting to hear from the Haddam Volunteer Ambulance Service for their representative. I expect I'll have something this week, and I'll bring it up at the Board of Selectmen meeting, at the next meeting we have in January. Other than that, the members are all the ones who are currently serving, and I have a motion to, continue the committee and also continue with the appointment to the existing members and appointing Malcolm Mayer as to fill the Haddam slot.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Salmon River Watershed Partnership. I told the board at the special selectmen's meeting I would look into what they do. I have since talked with Jim McCutcheon. It seems to be a very busy committee, although he and I are going to sit down for a little more detail to exactly what is going on, but they are our interface with Fish and Wildlife for the Conti Reserve and conservation efforts along the Salmon River. Both he and Gail are interested in continuing. Accordingly, I recommend continuing the committee and reappointing Gail Reynolds and Jim McCutcheon to serve on that committee. I have a motion to that extent.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Street Naming Committee. This one was established in 1989 by ordinance. It's supposed to have a member from the fire department, a member from the ambulance corps, and the assistant director of public works. Purpose of that is to prevent duplication of street names within the town. Believe me, as someone who drives an ambulance, this is maddening when it happens. Right now, I'm waiting to hear from both the fire department and the ambulance corps for their representative. But at this point, I recommend continuing the appointment or reappointing Chris Corsa in his position as Assistant Director of Public Works to the Street Naming Committee. I have a motion to that extent.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Sustainability Committee. This one deals with, obviously, environmental issues established by the Board of Selectmen, but it does tie into some state grants and money available. I'd recommend continuing the committee. The names listed on your handout here are people who either are currently active on the committee and expressed an interest to continue, or a couple of other people who have supported the committee but not officially been members. There are others on the committee that were asked if they wanted to continue or not. We have not heard back from them. So accordingly, I'm not recommending reappointing them. If after tonight's meeting they express an interest to be put back on the committee, we can do so at the next Board of Selectmen meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one's opposed, motion carries. Town attorneys, the town has 2 attorneys that are appointed. I will start with Nick Borello. He is the labor attorney. He is from the firm of Zingari, Cohen, Cuthbertson, Duell, and Corello. He's been the labor attorney for the past few years. He was here for the negotiations with union contracts. I have interacted with him and favorably impressed. I recommend that his firm be continued as a town labor attorney. Can I have a motion to that extent?
I'll make that motion.
All right, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. The other attorney is the attorney we do for general town business. Currently, that is the firm of Update, Kelly, and Spilacci. And in particular, Rich Corella is the attorney we deal with most directly. I have met with Rich a couple of times, talked with him. He's familiar with the town, what we've been going through for the last 4 years. I would recommend continuing his firm and him as the town general attorney. Can I have a motion to that extent?
I'll make that motion.
All right, discussion on the motion?
I think we can find a better town attorney. They're out there. I think Rich cost us a little bit too much money. There were some things that really didn't need to go to the attorney, and he should have known it. And it just cost us too much money.
Okay, I will agree that there were things that went to the attorney that perhaps they shouldn't have to, but I don't know that any attorney would turn around and tell you, no, don't spend your money on this, but perhaps. Okay. Our motion has been made. Discussion, any other discussion? All right, motion's on the floor. All in favor of continuing Updike, Kelly, and Spilacci as a town attorney for the time? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion carries. Final appointment we have to make tonight, tree warden. It's a position that's typically filled for us by the Assistant Director of Public Works. So again, I would recommend reappointing Chris Corsa to another 2-year term as our tree warden. I have a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries.
Board of Finance alternate.
Oh, yes, thank you. Put it on my list and skip right by it. Sorry, Frank. Last one we have to do is Board of Finance alternate. The position was opened up as a result of the election. It is replacing a Republican member, so it has to be a member of the Republican Party who fills that job. Prem Athol has been suggested by the Republican Town Committee. I would recommend appointing Prem as the Board of Finance alternate for it to fill that vacancy. Can I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion.
Any discussion?
Just want to say I work with Prem on EDC. He's very valuable, very knowledgeable, very dedicated. I think he'd be a great fit for the position.
All right, further discussion? All right, all in favor of appointing Prem to the alternate position on the Board of Finance?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, next order of business is new business. We have one item for new business. We've received a request from Chris Corsa, Assistant Director of Public Works, to transfer $50,000 into the tree removal fund to allow the town to continue to fund removing hazardous trees. The town has been hit hard, as the whole state has, by the drought, the gypsy moth, the emerald ash borer, and the two-line chestnut borer, whatever the heck that little bug is. and has expended, actually, at this point, that line item is overexpended. But I think we all agree there are a lot of trees that are hazardous and need to come down. This is not work the town can typically do. We just don't have the equipment and the capability to do it. It's contracted out to a number of tree services. The proposal at this point is to take money from a couple of other lines in public works, outside contractor and materials, $25,000 each. This has to go, if we approve it, to the Board of Finance for approval, and then possibly to the town for a town meeting for approval. Got to check the amount and limitations on that. It's a percentage of the budget. Can I have a motion to make the transfer as discussed, approve this transfer request to put $50,000 in the tree removal line, $25,000 from the outside contractor line, and $25,000 from the material line?
I'll make that motion.
All right, discussion on the motion?
Yeah, the only thing, it is work that's needed to get done, and then his letter to us, he does point out this has been for years now. I would ask that when we start our budgeting deliberations, he really needs to be a little more accurate. That's a lot of money. It has been going on for years, and he just needs to be a little more concise and accurate, because now we may have a problem towards the end of the year coming up with money for materials and other things, so he's gonna have to come with appropriation at some point. So I think, we need to get the work done, but I think he just needs to be a little better on the budgeting for it.
Okay, so noted. Other discussion?
Are there any details about how much that line is in the red right now?
I think it's about 5,000 in the red right now, based on the
Okay.
last inventory received.
And then, was there any additional information about what work can be expected to get done with this transferred?
I don't have a list of the particular trees.
Okay,
Chris does, at least the locations.
okay.
All right, motion has been made, discussion's been had. All in favor of making the transfer, approving the motion as proposed?
All right?
Aye.
Aye. All right. This will go on to the Board of Finance meeting. Their next meeting will be Monday, this coming Monday. All right, the last order, well, until public comment, the last order we have to discuss are Board of Selectmen meetings for this coming year. You have in front of you a schedule that I'm putting forth as a proposal. Initially, anyway, I propose we continue staying with the once-a-month meeting. I'm taking a look right now at the meetings that have been held over the last year, how long they've usually lasted. Most of them are relatively short in duration, as this one has been, at least so far. Probably shouldn't say that till we're through public comment. But my proposal is to keep it as one. I don't think during the winter months we want to be bringing people out twice a month because of the weather. And if indeed it looks like we really should have them twice a month routinely, we can amend this schedule and add them as necessary. And obviously, like always, regardless of what the published schedule is, if a special issue comes up that needs to be discussed before the next scheduled meeting, we'll just schedule a special meeting to discuss that item or items. All right, can I have a motion to approve the proposed schedule?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, discussion?
Thank you for considering putting the second meeting on it. I think that's something we should look at, maybe not every month, but certain months we should, because it would reduce the need for special meetings. If we had the second meeting, we could also use that second meeting as a time for maybe representatives from all these different committees to come in and give us information, give the public information as a clearinghouse for that. So just something to consider going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's a good suggestion. We ought to look at it maybe once a quarter. We have an extra meeting or whatever, but I would invite the committee chairs to come in even during a regular meeting, and let's see what information is passed and how worthwhile it is to have them in. Okay, further discussion on the proposed schedule? All right, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the schedule as proposed here?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. That covers the business that we had. I will reopen the floor to public comments. Mark?
May I suggest some meetings in Haddam? The last meeting that I know of that the Board of Selectmen had was in early May, and it was very well attended. Over the years, when the meetings were over there, they were always well attended, and if you might consider having a regular schedule of them, it doesn't probably have to be a lot of them, but something that they can look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And I will say, I did not pay him anything for that. I'm out on the record right now.
Until you commute, not
That's
that.
right.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with Mark, we
Yeah.
should do, maybe, 3, 4, a year, I would have no
Yeah,
problem.
maybe a quarterly or
Yeah.
more often, it's a special meeting. But yes, we will look to scheduling that. I'll see if I can work something out with the fire chief. All right. Any other public comment? Yes, Stu?
Just a question about street naming.
Yes.
A few years ago, a very short street up the road from me started with 4 houses on it. Now, my number on Spencer Road is 29. Up the road, when this new short Devonshire Lane or whatever started up, they had 4 mailboxes. And what have they got? 29. I don't know if the post office can't start with 1, 3, 5, and 7, but I've had a couple times with extremely important mail has come and been stuck in the box at 29 Devonshire, which is right on the road to Spencer Road. That's just something to think about. I don't know if the post office has the right to do this or what, but that's a problem. The other one is that years ago, after we had cards printed and whatnot, for Spencer Road named for some of the earliest members of this town, it was decided while we were gone to change the end of Spencer Road to Grapevine Road. Now, Grapevine's fine, I grow a lot of grapes. It starts on Spencer and goes up to where it becomes a Jeep track. They extended on down to Canoa Hill Road, and we had no notice of it. When this thing happens, are people notified that you'll get to print all new business cards and all whatever else because we decided to change the name of the road or whatever? The street naming committee, do they discuss this publicly, or who decides we're gonna change the name of the road?
So any committee meeting should be noticed and it should be open to the public, so the public should be able to attend. The actual numbering, I don't know the details of it. I know we have an ordinance that covers street numbering. Obviously, the post office is involved, but thank you for your comments, too. Anything further? All right. And we've completed the business. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion?
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. Motion that has never been turned down ever. Thank you again for attending. We are done.
Single abstain, amazing.